Welcome to my channel. This is Drop the Needle Records, and this is my very first video. I'd like to thank Rob Walker for creating the vinyl tag. I've watched him for years now, and for 2024, I thought I'd start the new year off and make my very first video. I'd just like to say thank you for inspiring vinyl collectors to make a video, and I hope you all enjoy my vinyl tag. But first up is question one, favorite record you purchased in 2023. This was a tough question, but I have to do two. I got the Beastie Boys box sets. The first one was the 25th anniversary. Great album. I went and saw them on tour 3 times when this album was made. Shout out to Josh Featherstone. Him and I were our Beastie Boys fans. Great album. Just amazing. And the other one, the other box set they came out with was Check Your Head. Another great album. If you're a Beastie Boys fan, you know, if you know, you know already. But highly recommend these 2 box sets. They sound amazing. The remixes are fantastic. If you're into hip hop, I would definitely check out these 2. The last record you bought in 2023. I actually purchased 5 that day, and I bought the Pacific Breeze Japanese City Pop collection, 1, 2, and 3 volumes. They are absolutely phenomenal. If you're into city pop, these are fantastic. They sound fantastic. Highly recommend them. The other 2 I bought the same day were the Meters, Struttin', and Look Up Hi Pi. These were recommended by Bob Bradley on his channel, and these are cut by Kevin Gray. He's the master, he's the man. Again, if you're collecting records, you know him already, but great funk, just so good. I'd highly recommend those records for sure. Next question, band or singer who released 2 or more albums in the same year. Again, this was tough, but if I had to choose, it would have to be Led Zeppelin 1 and Led Zeppelin 2. They were done in 1969. Had to show off my Robert Ludwig cut. Man, I thought I'd heard Led Zeppelin until I heard the RL cut. Sounds absolutely phenomenal. If you ever find one, highly recommend getting it. So good. It just, the sound, the way it pops off the speakers and on the vinyl is great. Listen to Dylan from Noble Records, and he'll tell you all about his Led Zeppelin collection, but highly recommend Led Zeppelin 2 RL. If you could only listen to music from one decade, which decade would you choose? In my mid-40s, late 40s almost now, the 80s was close. Lots of good bands and musicians in the 80s, but if I had to choose, 90s. In the 90s, you have rock, you have grunge, you have hip hop, alternative. And in the 90s, that's when I got obsessed with my music journey. Had the CDs laying everywhere. Had that huge 300-pack CD holder that would be in your car. You held it in your lap while you're driving with one hand, ejecting the CD in the other, trying to stay on the road and putting it back in. So definitely the 90s. Rob for number 5 said, show a record by a band or singer from Manchester. Had to go with Oasis. What's the Story, Morning Glory. This just brought me back being in college in the 90s. It's just a great album. Wonderwall is fantastic. Wish the brothers could get along and stay together longer, but you know, they're musicians and that happens. They're great individually, but in my opinion, better together. Number 6, which band or singer did you listen to the most in 2023? I listen to a lot, but I have to say that The Smile was what I listened to the most in 2023. A Light for Attracting Attention. If you don't know, Tom York, Johnny Greenwood from Radiohead got together and put out this album. Very, very good. You also have Tom Skinner on the drums. The whole album is amazing, but the standouts are The Same, The Opposite, Never Work on Television, The Smoke, which is my favorite song on the whole album, Fithen, Free the Knowledge. I mean, this is just a banger through and through. I mean, it's just so good. And I was so inspired because I got to see them in concert this summer, and even better, the lighting, the music live, and just knocking something off the bucket list. Seeing Tom and Johnny from Radiohead was just awesome. And then the best thing is this month they have another new album coming out, so I look forward to getting that as well. Number 7 says, show 7 7-inch records. Well, I only have 2 7-inch records, so I can't show 7, but I have from Art Record Store Day, Chris Cornell, Patience, and Slim Shady, Hi, My Name Is. I'd love to go down the rabbit hole of 7 inches, but I'm still, 5 years in my vinyl journey. I'm still trying to get things off my list. And, when I see some, I look a little bit, but there's so many other things that I want right now. Number 8, who's coming to your party? Choose 4 music-related people to come to an imaginary dinner party, past or present, who I would invite. Again, this is a very tough question, but favorite hip-hop group is the Beastie Boys. My favorite album is Paul's Boutique. My favorite hip-hop group of all time, I miss MCA, Adam Yauch so much. I would just love to sit them all down and hear more stories from their past and how they recorded all of their sounds and albums and decided on which samples they would use. That's just very interesting to me. At the same table, I'd have Kurt Cobain from Nirvana. I figured everybody would show Smells Like Teen Spirit, but I'd show Nirvana MTV Unplugged. But again, I'd like to get inside his head and just tell him what an inspiration he is to all these other artists and how he came up with ideas for songs. Let him know that, he's appreciated. He's very missed. Gone way, way too young. Know some of you probably won't like this decision, but Dave Matthews, huge Dave fan. He is just so great live. For those of you that knock him, if you see him live, I think a lot of you would change your mind. I would just like to sit there and thank him for opening my eyes to other artists like the Grateful Dead, Fish, John Butler Trio, Jack Johnson, and a lot more. I mean, I've seen him in concert now 42 times. He's just so great. I can't even tell you how inspiring he is to me, and he gets me moving and dancing when I'm there live. And again, he's very, very talented with what he does. And then finally, I went back and forth on the 4th person. I thought James Brown, Biggie Smalls, but I decided to go country and thought I'd bring in Johnny Cash. How cool would it be for him to sit down with those 3 people? And I think they would all just be inspired for The Man in Black and how he just opened doors. I mean, who just shows and goes up to a prison and just does a full concert? Johnny Cash does. So definitely those 4 people. What a great question that is. We lost them. Choose one musician who passed away in 2023. And I know I might be butchering the name, but David Jude Jolicoeur from De La Soul. So glad they came back and re-released all these albums. I know licensing was an issue, but This is released on many colors, but if you haven't gotten this yet, get it. And they just rapped about inspiring things. They didn't go the route of cussing and all those different types of things. So definitely check this album out if you haven't. And question number 10. Imagine you can only listen to music from one country. Which country would you choose? England would be very close to me. Why? I mean, you have Led Zeppelin, Beatles, Black Sabbath, Radiohead, but come on, the US, baby. Why? Well, you have grunge, Smashing Pumpkins, Soundgarden. Go the hip hop route, Snoop. I mean, those are so great. I mean, then you can even do funk. I mean, we wouldn't have funk if we didn't have the United States. I mean, you have James Brown, Parliament, Curtis Mayfield, just fantastic. Number 11, name 3 vinyl community channels you discovered in 2023. Number 1 for me, I'm going to mention more than 3, but because there's some people I like to thank for their channels. But number 1, Concert Buddie. Mid-40s like me, has my taste. He's around, he just loves I love the humor he comes with, his podcasts, his live streams, and maybe one day he'll ask me to be on one of his live streams. Next one is Vinyl Reckoning. Love their content, their production, their honesty, and the Almost Married Couple has a great channel. Number 3, Pieces of Vinyl. He has great videos. The stories he has, if you haven't listened to his Philadelphia series, I'd highly recommend that. His product recommendations and his production quality is fantastic. Number 4, Steve Westman. He has great live streams every week, and they're all about audiophile. I've gotten recommendations from the audiophile live streams he does. And then SublimMedia. He does vinyl finds a lot. I know he just started his own record company, but he has great recommendations. He does things on Psych Records, rock, similar to Dylan from Noble Records. Number 12, show a record you bought when you were a teenager. Well, when I was a teenager, I was really buying CDs. But I have the vinyl now, but if I had to choose one, it would be Dr. Dre, The Chronic. I remember going into the mall when I was 16 at Coconuts. I don't know if anybody's in the Midwest and remembers Coconuts, but it came in that really long cardboard box, and you had to open the cardboard box to get the CD out of it. Oh my gosh, this is such a masterpiece. The samples on here, plus you had Snoop and Nothing But a G Thing. I had to watch that video all the time. This album I must have gotten on CD 3 different times because it was just scratched to death and just thrown in the CD player back and forth, but highly recommend Dr. Dre, The Chronic. Number 13, show a funk or soul record. Wow, I've really gone down the funk rabbit hole lately. The last couple of years, I've really gotten into funk, but I have to thank Dylan from Noble Records that put me onto this album. This is Man-Child by Herbie Hancock. Of course, you have Herbie Hancock on the Lyricon. I really wish people would continue recording with the Lyricon today, but the man, the highlight of this whole album is Wah Wah Watson. Rest in peace, Wah Wah Watson. The one thing that gets me, if you haven't watched Wah Wah Watson do some of these songs on here, go on YouTube and type in Wah Wah Watson, and he does this album. He does the head tilt. The head tilt does it for me every single time. But you have on this album, Hang Up Your Hang-Ups, The Traitor, Stepping in It. It's so good. I could listen to that album all day. Even my son will ask me to play, hey Dad, put on Wah Wah Watson. I want to hear that album right now. Number 14, show a record you think everyone has, and then show a record you think nobody has. Well, I mean, I was a teenager when this album came out, and it's probably the most sold. It is one of the most sold records of all time, and that's Michael Jackson, Thriller. Every single song is amazing. You know, you just, he's inspired so many musicians and just a different variety of music that's on there. I mean, he even has Eddie Van Halen on his records. I mean, how amazing is that? I mean, it's just so great. And then I have to go with a record that you think nobody has. So I have to go with the Rappin' Duke. And I have to tell a little bit of a backstory with this, but I remember having on cassette when I was 8 years old, the Kings of Rap. There was a song on there called The Rappin' Duke, and I played and played and played that song. He just sounded like John Wayne. And then I get into college, and all of a sudden Biggie Smalls comes out with Juicy, and he references the Rappin' Duke in that song. I'm just like, how awesome is that? Found this single in a dollar bin. Happiest day, you would have thought I found the biggest grail of my life, and I've been looking for that Kings of Rap. I know I can go on Discogs and buy Kings of Rap, but I want to be able to find it and have that moment when I actually find that compilation. That would just do it for me. She's great. A record by a female artist you bought in 2023. Well, I went down a rabbit hole this year, and I wanted to get into the Eurythmics, and they made it into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I think in 2022. But Annie Lennox, the synth pop, the new wave style is my cup of tea. It's just really, really good. I mean, think about it. You have Would I Lie to You? You have Love is a Stranger, Wrap It Up. And of course, you know, you have Sweet Dreams. But Annie Lennox, I mean, her voice is so amazing. I can't get over how great of a voice she has. But if you don't have any Eurythmics, highly recommend them. Check them out. The favorite video you posted on your channel in 2023, question 16, and the favorite video you watched. Well, this is my very first video, so if you have any recommendations, let me know. Don't judge me too much. You know, this cheap iPhone recording right now, but the favorite video I watched, I want you to check my description below and my links below. I'm going to reference a lot of people for this question because all of these people I'm about to mention have inspired me to make this video. So it might be a little bit of a list, but they've touched me to do this, so I want to give them a shout out. First of all, Rob Walker, the man who started Vinyl Tag. Noble Records. Everybody that's watching this video right now knows Dylan, but he's the man. I've learned so much from that man. So many records I've listened to and purchased because of him. His own label has definitely banger records for sure. Get them all. Also, this past summer, I got to meet him in his shop over the summer, and that was definitely a bucket list moment for me. The next person, Too Many Records. Matt, he's the man. Creates amazing videos, and I love watching his live streams and wish, like, man, I wish I could open up 20 vinyls in one stream and be able to do that. I've discovered so much music because of him. I'd love to be able to go to Portland and check out his shop and thank him in person for what he does. Robert Fithen, love his channel. His humor is great. He has great insight, very honest with what he says and what he does. The Vinyl Den, he has great weekly videos. He's my age and he has the same taste in music, so check him out too. Norman Maslov, Mazzy, he's the man, the myth, the legend. A great man, wealth of knowledge, love seeing him throughout the vinyl community. You can see him almost every day. He's on lots of live streams, but his knowledge is fantastic. Bob Bradley. Bob Bradley has great weekly videos. He shows a lot of his pickups. Got his recommendation for the Meter records. Plus, he's from Louisville, DeVille. I grew up across the bridge in Indiana, so I'd like to shout him out. He gives me a little touch of home when I watch his videos. Melinda Murphy, she makes great videos as well. She's very honest. She gives great reviews, recommendations. She's from Owensboro, Kentucky, and I grew up near Evansville when I was younger, and so when I just like getting, again, that sense of home whenever I watch her videos as well. NTX Vinyl, he makes great videos. You get to watch some videos on how to open a record store. I mean, how cool is that? And which would be a dream for me. He gives great recommendations. He also has whatnot streams sometimes, which is great. 45 RPM audio file, Michael. I mean, you guys know him already, but lots of amazing videos. His live streams, has a dream setup and collection. And I always love seeing his videos when he goes to Den Bosch, which, you know, in a dream, I'd love to be able to go one day, which would be fantastic. Vinyl Rewind, which is great. He has great production. His reviews are great. His knowledge, just a big variety. And I love how he has that set up in that little basement looking thing over the open fire. It looks kind of cool. I like that a lot. Channel 33 RPM, Frank, he puts out great reviews, shows a lot of different products. Love his energy. He has great energy every week. He really connects with his audience. That kind of inspires me to be able to do that too. Andy Edwards. I don't see people talk about this man very often, but I discovered him about a year and a half ago. I started getting interested in progressive rock due to Dylan. He shows a lot of prog rock stuff, and I just went down the rabbit hole. And man, this guy has great videos and knowledge about progressive rock. He was actually a drummer in a band, and so he has a lot of knowledge on this category. He's turned me on to Gentle Giant, Gong. I'll talk about Gong in a minute. Can, ELP, which is Emerson Lake Palmer, and Genesis. Great dude. Learned so much from him. Stunt Rock Confusion, Stunty. Love his weekly live streams. I have discovered a lot of obscure music from him, and it's just neat to hear the different types of styles, and how he's found these albums is amazing to me. PB Thaw, love his knowledge about audiophile pressings to get, and his honesty. Great channel. Check that guy out as well. And finally, Glen Kellaway. Love hearing him show what he's picked up during the week. He's just a really humble, real nice person, human being. He seems that way. He talks bluegrass, which I love bluegrass. Growing up in the country, I liked hearing some bluegrass recommendations sometimes. He also does weekly live streams as well. Sorry about that long list, but I had to just go through that and just thank some people that made me want to do this. Number 17, show me a record you describe as a 90s classic. Well, I got a Grail this year. No, everybody says Grails, and when you find one that you really, really want, I was able to get an OG Pearl Jam 10 sealed, and it's, the only thing is, yeah, it's hole punched, but I don't care. The album is amazing. It just, every single song on that album is a banger. It's fantastic. I mean, I could go through 90s grunge and say the same thing about a lot of albums, but, you know, just like Concert Buddy, it's to get that, all those 90s albums on vinyl would be a dream. If I could, number 18, if I could walk into the cover, choose a record cover you like to be in. This was a tough one for me, but I look at this album. This is Alice in Chains MTV Unplugged. It's actually not a bootleg. Got this about 2-3 years ago, right before they went out of print. But wow, this is my favorite Unplugged album. There's not a lot I can say. This album is just amazing. One of Lane Staley's last live performances. I think I was reading that they got back together after being away for 2.5 years. And they didn't miss a beat on this. This is just pure enjoyment. If you haven't listened to this, I highly, highly recommend that as well. Number 19, it's like a greatest hits. Show a record you're familiar with. This is definitely a hard one. I was really close to picking Back in Black by AC/DC. I could pick Thriller, Nevermind. I always say Rumors is the best album, which it is, but I've seen a lot of people do Rumors. This is one that's also like a greatest hits. This is Boston's debut album, And wow, you got More Than a Feeling, Peace of Mind, Long Time, Rock and Roll Band, Smokin'. I mean, this record is just amazing. And if you don't have this, I mean, this is the one you need. Yeah, there's second and third great as well, and they have others as well, but this one is it. This is the album you need, and fantastic record. And then, let's see, then number 20, Show Me an Album that was released in 1974. So I said earlier that I went down a prog rabbit hole, and Andy Edwards loves this band, and he considers it one of the best albums in the progressive rock genre. This is Gong Yu, and I know I have this on here, but Gong Yu. Oh my gosh, this album is like I don't even know how to describe it. It's like a mind warp. It just is so different, and the different instruments you hear, and it's amazing. If I just would like you to stream it. Just stream it. If you are into prog, or you think, you know, like, hey, I kind of like, you know, Yes, Fragile, put in Gong Yu. It'll blow your mind. It's so talented, and they have several other albums as well, but that's my vinyl tag. But I'd like to, again, thank Rob for doing this, and if you have any questions, any comments, any advice, let me know. But I'd love to be able to do some more future videos. Of course, I have some more in mind, but thank you again for watching my channel. This is Drop the Needle Records. Peace.